Well, hello there. Sion Batson here from Sion Batson Tutoring. And in this video, I will be teaching you how to rewrite linear equations in slope-intercept form. A very important concept for 8th grade students, high school students, GED students, and college students. So let's go. Now, the very first thing I want us to discuss is what an equation looks like when it is in slope-intercept form. Now, the general formula for an equation in slope-intercept form is y equals to mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is the y-intercept. Now, there are two key things that I want to point out to you about this equation. Yes? The first thing I want you to see is that the slope and its variable x, they come right after the equal sign. Yes? In other words, x and its coefficient, they come right after the equal sign. And the second thing I want you to see is that the y in the equation is isolated. In other words, the y is positive and on its side by itself. Therefore, when we rewrite linear equations in slope-intercept form, our goal will be to isolate the y, or our goal will be to get the y in the equation positive and on its side by itself. Get the idea so far? Perfect. Now, I am going to teach you a very simple process that will help you master the skill of rewriting linear equations in slope-intercept form. Let's go. Again, the goal when rewriting linear equations in slope-intercept form will be to isolate the y. Yes? Now, to isolate the y, we will have to get rid of some unwanted terms. Now, very important, when we are getting rid of the unwanted terms, we will get rid of one unwanted term at a time. And here is a little secret. We will always get rid of the unwanted term that is closest to the y last. Yes? Now, to get rid of the unwanted terms, we will use the opposite operation. Now, very important, whatever the opposite operation is, we must perform that operation on both sides of the equation. If the opposite operation is to add, we must add on both sides of the equation. If the opposite operation is to subtract, we must subtract on both sides of the equation. Get the idea so far? Perfect! This is fun stuff. This is easy stuff. We're gonna have a good time. Let's get the party started. In the first example here, we want to rewrite y plus 3x equal to 5 in slope-intercept form. Again, to rewrite a linear equation in slope-intercept form, we will have to isolate the y. In other words, we will have to get this y positive and on its side by itself. Yes? To get this y positive and on its side by itself, we will have to get rid of the positive 3x. Yes? The positive 3x is the unwanted term. If we get rid of the positive 3x, the y will be positive and all by itself on the left side of the equation. Yes? Now, the question is, how will we get rid of this positive 3x? Well, remember, to get rid of any unwanted term, we will use the opposite operation. And since the 3x is adding on to the y, we are going to subtract the 3x, because the opposite operation or the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. Yes? So to get rid of this 3x, we will subtract 3x. If I subtract 3x, 3x, take 3x will give us 0. So the 3x is gone, and just the y is left on the left side. But remember, whatever the opposite operation is, whatever the inverse operation is, we must perform that operation on both sides of the equation. So since I subtracted 3x on the left side of the equation, I must subtract 3x on the right side of the equation as well. So far, so good? Perfect. Now, on the right side, we are unable to subtract 5 and 3x. Why? Because they are not like terms. We have an integer and we have a term with a variable. Yes? Remember, in algebra, we can only add or subtract terms that are alike. Yes? So since we are unable to subtract on the right side, we will continue to rewrite our equation in the slope-intercept form. Again, remember, we said that when the equation is in slope-intercept form, the x and its coefficient, they come directly after the equal sign. So I'm going to put this negative 3x right after the equal sign. And then I will put back this positive 5. Now, this 5 is positive because remember, whenever there is no sign in front of an integer, it's automatic that that integer is positive. Yes? So our final answer here is y is equal to negative 3x plus 5. How was that? This is fun stuff. This is exciting stuff. Now, let's talk a little bit more about our equation here. The equation is now in slope-intercept form, yes? So our slope is negative 3, yes? And our y-intercept b is 5. So just in case you're asking, well, Sion, why do I need to rewrite equations in slope-intercept form? Why do I need to rewrite linear equations in slope-intercept form? Well, before you can determine the slope of the line and the y-intercept of the line, the equation of the line must be in slope-intercept form. Yes? Now, one more thing. Some of you might be asking why I treat 3x as just one term when it has an integer and a variable. Why is it considered to be one term? Well, remember, 3x is the same as 3 times x. And whenever an integer is multiplying a variable, or a variable is multiplying an integer, we will treat the pair as one term. Yes? That is why 3x is considered to be one term. How are you feeling? Come on, pump me up. We're gonna have a good time. I'm so excited here. We're gonna have a grand time. This is fun stuff. This is exciting stuff. My friends, this is a very important concept for all my algebra students and all my GED students. Yes, you guys must master this concept. Now, quickly, before we go to our next example, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and thank you for joining. Now, kindly click on the subscribe button and turn your notifications on so that you can be notified every time I post a fun, exciting, and easy to follow math tutorial. Yes? Thank you. Now, let's keep the party going. In our second example here, we would like to rewrite 2y equal to x minus 8 in slope-intercept form. Now, the very first thing I want us to do before we continue to rewrite the linear equation in slope-intercept form is to put a 1 in front of our lonely variable. Remember, whenever a variable is by itself, any variable is by itself, x or y, its coefficient is always 1. There's always a 1 hiding in the shadows. So whenever you see a lonely variable here, we're going to always put back the 1 just to remind ourselves that that 1 is hiding in the shadows. Yes? Now, let's continue. We want to rewrite our equation in slope-intercept form. To rewrite our equation in slope-intercept form, our ultimate goal will be to isolate the y. Or our ultimate goal will be to get the y positive and on a side by itself. Yes? To get the y positive and on a side by itself, or to isolate the y, we will have to get rid of unwanted terms. Yes? In this example, if we want to isolate the y, we will have to get rid of this 2. If we get rid of the 2, then the y is all by itself. Yes? It's positive and by itself. Now, the big question is, how do we get rid of the 2? Well, remember we said that to get rid of the unwanted terms, we will use the opposite operation or the inverse operation. 2y is the same as 2 times y. So the 2 is multiplying the y. Since the 2 is multiplying the y, to get rid of the 2, we will use the opposite operation of multiplication, which is division. So we will divide by 2 to get rid of that 2. Yes? 2 divided by 2 is 1. So after dividing, we're left with 1y, or just y. Because remember, 1y and y is the same term. Yes? Now, don't forget, whatever the opposite operation is, we must perform that operation on both sides of the equation. Yes? So since I divided by 2 on the left side, I must divide each term on the right side by 2 as well. So if I divide by 2, I'll get 1/2 x, and negative 8, excuse me, divided by 2 is negative 4. Yes? A negative divided by a positive is a negative. How is that? This is fun stuff. This is easy stuff. How are you guys feeling? So our final answer here is y is equal to 1/2 x minus 4. Yes? Our equation is in slope-intercept form because the y is isolated, or the y is positive and on a side by itself. Yes? Our slope is 1/2 and our y-intercept is negative 4. Get the idea? This is fun stuff. Come on, talk to me. This is fun stuff. This is exciting stuff. You guys cannot tell me that you're not having a blast here learning this concept. Yes? In our third equation here, we would like to rewrite 4x plus 2y equal to 10 in slope-intercept form. And again, remember the goal. To rewrite a linear equation in slope-intercept form, our goal will simply be to isolate the y. Yes? Or to get the y positive and on its side by itself. In this example, if I want to isolate the y, I will have to get rid of this 4x and this 2. We have 2 unwanted terms, yes? We have 4x and we have the 2. Which of the unwanted terms do we get rid of first? Well, remember the secret, yes? We will get rid of the unwanted term closest to the y last. The 2 is closer to the y than the 4x. So we will get rid of this 2 last, yes? Therefore, we have to get rid of the 4x first. This 4x is adding on to the 2y. Yes? Just in case you can't see it, we can rewrite the left side of the equation as 2y plus 4x. This 4x is positive because remember, whenever there isn't a sign in front of a term, it's automatic that that term is positive. Yes? So this 4x is really adding on to the 2y. Yes? So since the 4x is adding on, we're going to use the opposite operation of addition to get rid of the 4x. Yes? And the opposite operation of addition is subtraction. Very good. So we will subtract 4x on the left side. And if I subtract 4x, I'll get 4x take 4x, will give me 0. So that 4x is gone. Yes? And we'll have just a 2y on the left side. Now, remember, if I subtract 4x on the left side, I must subtract 4x on the right side as well. On the right side, I'm unable to subtract 10 and 4x because the two terms are not alike. One term is an integer, one term has a variable. And remember, we can only subtract terms that are alike. So we will keep it moving. In the general formula for the slope-intercept form, x and its coefficient, they come directly after the equal sign. So I'll put this negative 4x right after the equal sign, and then I'll put this positive 10. Again, 10 is positive because, like I said earlier, whenever there isn't a sign in front of an integer, it's automatic that that integer is positive. Now, we aren't finished though, yes? Because remember, the goal is to isolate y, yes? Or to get y positive and on its side by itself. To get this y by itself, we have to get rid of the 2, yes? If I get rid of that 2, the y will be all by itself. Now, how do I get rid of the 2? Well, remember, we will use the opposite operation to get rid of an unwanted term. And again, 2y is the same as 2 times y. So the 2 is multiplying the y. Yes? So we will use the opposite operation of multiplication to get rid of the 2. The opposite operation of multiplication is division. Very good. So we will divide by 2 to get rid of the 2. And 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we left with 1y, or just y. Yes, because 1y and y is the same term. And if I divide by 2 on the left side, I must divide by 2 on the right side. Yes? Let's divide. A negative 4x divided by a positive 2 will give me negative 2x. Because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. And 10 divided by 2 is 5. Or positive 10 divided by 2 is positive 5. How are you guys feeling? This is fun stuff. Come on, man. Come on, come on, come on. Tell me how easy this stuff is. Tell me how fun this stuff is. This is exciting stuff. Woo! I think I need to get a party hat to make this party official, yes? I'm gonna get me some party hats so we can make this party official. Our final answer here is now what? Y is equal to negative 2x plus 5, yes? Our slope is now negative 2, and our y-intercept is positive 5. Do you get the idea? Do you get the concept? Isn't this a fun concept? Come on, man, come on. You guys are so quiet. Come on, let's get pumped. I have a few more to work because there are some things I want to show you to make sure you master the concept, yes? You guys know I show you everything you need to know to master these concepts. So I am working a few examples here because I want to make sure you guys have everything you need to master the concept, yes? This example, we want to rewrite 4x minus y equal to 7 in slope-intercept form. Again, I see a lonely variable here. The y is lonely. So what I'm going to do is put a 1 in front of the y. Because remember, whenever we see a lonely variable, any variable, a, x, its coefficient is always 1. The 1 is always hiding in the shadows. So, let's put that 1 there, just to make life easier. Yes? Now, let's continue. To rewrite this linear equation in slope-intercept form, our ultimate goal again is to isolate the y. Yes? To isolate the y, we will have to get rid of some unwanted terms. Yes? If I want to get this y isolated, or if I want to get the y positive and on a side by itself, I will have to get rid of this 4x and this negative 1. If I get rid of the 4x and the negative 1, the y will be all by itself. So we have two unwanted terms here to get rid of, yes? Let's put back that 1. Which of the unwanted terms do we get rid of first? Remember our secret. We will always get rid of the unwanted term closest to the y last. The negative 1 is closer to the y than the 4x. So we will get rid of the negative 1 last. Therefore, we have to get rid of this 4x first. This 4x is adding on to the y. Just in case you can't see it, we can rewrite the left side as negative 1y plus 4x. This 4 is positive. Remember, whenever there is no sign in front of a term, it's automatic that that term is positive. Yes? So the 4x is adding on to our negative 1y. So we are going to use the opposite operation of addition to get rid of the 4x. The opposite operation of addition is subtraction. Very good. So we will subtract 4x. Man, this is so much fun. This is too easy. This is too easy. No, come on, man. This is too easy. If we subtract 4x, take 4x, we'll give it 0. So the 4x is gone. Very important though. If I subtract 4x on the left side, I must do what? Subtract 4x on the right side. Very good. So on the left side, we'll have negative 1y. Yes? How are you guys feeling? This is fun stuff. Come on, man. Now, on the right side here, I'm unable to subtract 7 and 4x because the two terms are not alike. Again, one is an integer and the second term has a variable, which is x. Yes? So therefore, we are unable to subtract because the two terms are not alike. You can only add or subtract terms that are alike. So since we are unable to subtract, we will keep it moving. Keep it, come on. Keep it moving. Come on, keep it. Come on, don't say my dance is corny. We having a good time. In the general formula, the x and its coefficient come directly after the equal sign. So I'll put back my negative 4x first. Then I'll put the positive 7. Again, 7 is positive because whenever there is no sign in front of an integer or whenever there is no sign in front of any term, it's automatic that that term or integer is positive. Yes? No, we aren't done though because we have to get y not only by itself, but y must be positive. So we have to get rid of this negative 1. Again, negative 1y is the same as negative 1 times y. Yes? So since the negative 1 is multiplying the y, we will use the opposite operation of multiplication to get rid of the negative 1. And the opposite operation of multiplication is division. So we will divide by negative 1 to get rid of the negative 1. Negative 1 divided by negative 1 is positive 1 because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So we're left with positive 1y or just y because 1y and y, same term, same expression. If I divide by negative 1 on the left side, I must do what? I must divide the terms on the right side by negative 1 as well. Fun stuff. The key is, my friends, the key is going step by step. If you trust the process and go step by step, you will never go wrong. Let's continue. Negative 4x divided by negative 1 will give me positive 4x. Because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And 7 divided by negative 1 will give me negative 7, yes? How is that? Yes? So, our final answer is y is equal to 4x minus 7. Yes? Our slope here is 4, and our y-intercept is negative 7. Again, our equation is in slope-intercept form. Why? Because the y is isolated. How are you guys feeling? Come on, we have a few more examples to go, but come on, pump me up, come on, man. You guys are all sitting there watching me like, I know, I'm making it look easy, but still, you know, pump me up. Come on, let's have a good time. I'm going to do 2 more examples. I want to make 2 more points, and then you guys will get a chance to shine, yes? All right, let's see. We have 3x minus 2y is equal to 6. Yes, again, we would like to rewrite this linear equation in slope-intercept form. And whenever we write a linear equation in slope-intercept form, the goal will be to isolate the y. To isolate the y in this equation, we will have to get rid of the 3x and the negative 2. The big question is, though, which of the unwanted terms do we get rid of first? Well, we have a secret, yes? Remember, the secret is we will get rid of the unwanted term closest to y last. In this example, the negative 2 is closer to the y than the 3x. So we will get rid of the negative 2 last. Therefore, we have to get rid of this 3x first. Yes? This 3x is adding on to the negative 2y. Just in case you can't see it, we can rewrite the left side of the equation as negative 2y plus 3x. This 3x is positive because, remember again, I'm going to keep saying it. Whenever a term has no sign in front of it, it's automatic that that term is positive. Yes? So the 3x is adding on to the negative 2y. So we will use the opposite operation of addition to get rid of the 3x, yes? And the opposite operation of addition is subtraction. Oh, very good, my friends. You guys are so smart. You guys are so smart. So we will subtract the 3x to get rid of the 3x. If we subtract 3x, take 3x, give us 0. So the 3x is gone. Bye-bye. Yes? What's left? On the left side, we have negative 2y left. But remember again, we aren't done. If I subtract 3x on the left side, I must subtract 3x on the right side. On the right side, I'm unable to add or subtract because 6 and negative 3x are not like terms. Yes? We have an integer and we have a term with a variable. Remember, we can only add or subtract terms that are alike. Yes? So we will keep it moving. Come on. Keep it moving. Yes? All right. So remember again, in the general formula for the slope-intercept form, the x and its coefficient, they come directly after the equal sign. So we will put the negative 3x first, then we will put the positive 6. Again, 6 is positive because when there is no sign in front of a term or when there is no sign in front of an integer, it's automatic that integer is positive. We aren't finished though, because remember the goal is to isolate y. Yes? We have to get rid of this negative 2 here if we want to isolate y. If I get rid of that negative 2, the y is all by itself. It's positive and by itself. So how will I get rid of the negative 2? Well, remember, negative 2y is the same as negative 2 times y. So the negative 2 is multiplying the y. So to get rid of the negative 2, I will have to use the opposite operation of multiplication, or the inverse operation of multiplication. The inverse or the opposite operation of multiplication is division. Very good. So I will divide by negative 2 to get rid of the negative 2. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is positive 1. So after dividing by negative 2 on the left side, I have 1y, positive 1y, or just y. Yes? Very important though. If I divide on the left side by negative 2, I must divide on the right side by negative 2 as well. Talk to me. Let's divide. Negative 3x divided by negative 2 will give me positive 3 over 2x. Because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And positive 6 divided by negative 2 will give me negative 3. Because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So my final answer here is y is equal to 3 over 2x minus 3. Now, whenever your slope is a fraction, you will always check to see if you can write that fraction in its simplest form. Yes? In this example, 3 over 2 is already in the simplest form because the greatest common factor of 3 and 2 is 1. And whenever the greatest common factor of the numerator and the denominator is 1, that simply means that the fraction is already in its simplest form. So our final answer here again is y is equal to 3 over 2x minus 3, where our slope will be 3 over 2 and our y-intercept b will be negative 3. Yes? One more. We're almost there. We're almost there. How are you guys feeling? Do you guys feel as though you have all the tools you need to master this concept? Yes. We have one more left here. Yes, I have to make one more point and then we are done. But I am done. You guys will get your chance to shine. Yes? So bear with me here. All right. How are you guys feeling? I know some of you are going to pause the video and try this one on your own. But I am begging you, work with me and you guys will get a chance to shine. Yes? I know some of you are confident. And you're saying to yourself, but Mom, I got it. My Dad, I got it, Dad. Let me work at that. Slow down. Slow down. Give me a chance to work it. Give me a chance to explain and make some points. And you guys will get a chance to shine. Let's go. We want to rewrite 4x plus 8y is equal to 2 in slope-intercept form. So again, to rewrite a linear equation in slope-intercept form, we will simply isolate the y. Yes? To isolate the y in this equation, we have to get rid of the 4x and the 8. If I get rid of the 4x and the 8, the y is all by itself, positive and just chilling. Let's see. So let's put back 4x and the 8. The big question now is, which of the unwanted terms do I get rid of first? Remember our secret. We will always get rid of the unwanted term closest to y last. The 8 is closer to the y than the 4x. Therefore, we will get rid of the 8 last and get rid of the 4x first. Yes? The 4x is adding on to the 8y. Just in case you can't see it, we can rewrite this left side as 8y plus 4x. This 4x is positive again because whenever there is no sign in front of a term, it's automatic that that term is positive. So since the 4x is adding on to the 8y, we'll have to use the opposite operation of addition or the inverse operation of addition to get rid of the 4x. The opposite operation of addition is subtraction. So we will subtract 4x to get rid of the 4x. 4x take 4x is 0. So the 4x is gone. If I subtract 4x on the left side, I must subtract 4x on the right side. Let's see what is left. Again, 4x take 4x is 0. So this 4x is gone. So on the left side, we only have the 8y left. On the right side, we are unable to subtract 2 and the 4x because they're not alike. We have an integer and we have a term that has a variable. And we can only add or subtract terms that are alike. So we will keep it moving. In the general equation, the x and its coefficient, they come directly after the equal sign. So we will put the negative 4x first, then put back the positive 2. Again, 2 is positive because whenever there is no sign in front of an integer, it's automatic that the integer is positive. I know I keep saying it. All right, but we aren't done, yes? Our goal is to isolate y. Y has to be on a side positive and by itself. So we have to get rid of this 8. If I get rid of the 8, the y will be all by itself. How will I get rid of the 8 though? Remember, 8y is the same as 8 times y. So the 8 is multiplying the y. So to get rid of the 8, I will have to use the opposite operation of multiplication, or the inverse operation of multiplication, which is the division. Very good. So I'm going to divide by 8 to get rid of this 8, yes? And 8 divided by 8 is 1. So we're left with 1y, or just y. Because 1y and y is the same term. If I divide by 8 on the left side, I must divide by 8 on the right side. Yes? After dividing, what do we have left? We have a fraction, negative 4 over 8x. And we have a next fraction here, 2 over 8. Remember though, whenever we are left with fractions, we will always check to see if we can write our fractions in their simplest form. Yes? To write fractions in the simplest form, we will simply divide the numerator and the denominator of the fraction by their greatest common factor, or by the biggest number that can go into the numerator and the denominator evenly. For negative 4/8, the greatest common factor here is 4. 4 is the biggest number that can go into 4 and 8 evenly. So if we divide both by 4, we will get negative 1/2 x. Yes? What about 2 and 8? Well, the greatest common factor for 2 and 8 is 2. Yes? 2 is the biggest number that can go into 2 and 8 evenly. If I divide 2 by 2, I will get 1. If I divide 8 by 2, I will get 4. Yes? And I put back my y. So my final answer here is, y is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 1/4. Again, we always want to leave our slope and the y-intercept as fractions, yeah? Do not convert them to decimals, yes? Leave them as fractions. Just leave the slope and the y-intercept as fractions. All right, now, I am done. But guess what time it is? Come on. I should have brought a belt to the party. But I know you older kids are like, yes, we don't want to see that belt. Leave that belt for the kids, for the small kids, for the elementary kids, right? Whatever. I bring the belt to my next algebra party. It's your turn to shine. So now, what I want you guys to do for me is pause the video, yes, and give this problem a try. You're going to rewrite 6x plus 3y equal to 18 in slope-intercept form. Remember the goal. Remember the process. Trust the process, and you will get the correct answer. Go step by step. I believe in you. Pause the video, give it a try. If you need to, you can go back and watch the previous examples and then try it. But I want you guys to pause the video, give it a try, then come back and let's see if we get the same answer. Yes? All right. Welcome back. How are you guys feeling? Tell me the truth. You guys are feeling very confident. I know, because I have given you guys all the tools you need to master this skill. So let's see if we will get the same answer. To rewrite this equation in slope-intercept form, the goal will be to isolate the y. Very good, my friends. To isolate the y, we will have to get rid of some unwanted terms. We will have to get rid of the 6x and the positive 3. If I get rid of the 6x and the positive 3, the y will be all by itself. Which of the unwanted terms do we get rid of first though? Well, I share a secret with you guys, yes? We will always get rid of the unwanted term closest to the y last. The 3 is closer to the y than the 6x. So we will get rid of the 3 last and get rid of the 6x first. How will we get rid of the 6x? Well, again, the 6x is adding on to the 3y. Just in case we can't see it, we can rewrite the left side as 3y plus 6x. Because again, remember, whenever there is no sign in front of a term, it's automatic that that term is positive. So the 6x is positive. It's adding on to the 3y. So to get rid of the 6x, we will have to use the inverse operation of addition, or the opposite operation of addition. And the opposite operation of addition is subtraction. Very good. So we will subtract 6x to get rid of the 6x. If I subtract 6x, 6x takes 6x will give us 0. So the 6x is gone, and we just have the 3y on the left side. But we aren't done though, because remember, if I subtract 6x on the left side, I must do what? Subtract 6x on the right side. On the right side, I'm unable to subtract 18 and the 6x because they are not alike. One term is an integer, one term has a variable. We can only add or subtract terms that are alike. So we will keep it moving. All right. In the general equation, in the general formula, the x and its coefficient, they come directly after the equal sign. So I'll put this negative 6x first. Then I put by the positive 18. Again, 18 is positive because whenever there is no sign in front of an integer, it's automatic that that integer is positive. Yes? All right, we're almost there. Now we have to get rid of the 3 because the y must be isolated. The y must be on a side by itself and positive. That's the goal. 3y is the same as 3 times y. So this 3 is multiplying the y. So to get rid of this 3, we'll have to use the opposite operation of multiplication. The opposite operation of multiplication is division. So we will divide 3 by 3. And if I divide 3 by 3, I will get 1. So after dividing by 3, I have 1y, or just y, because 1y and y is the same term. Come on. If I divide by 3 on the left side, I must divide by 3 on the right side. Yes? How are you guys feeling? I know you guys are saying, I can't believe it's about to be over. Yes, it is, but the better news is you guys have mastered the concept. Let's divide. Negative 6x divided by 3 will give us negative 2x. Yes, a negative divided by a positive is a negative. And 18 divided by 3 will give us positive 6. So our final answer here is y is equal to negative 2x plus 6, where our slope is now negative 2, and our y-intercept b is positive 6. How are you guys feeling? This was fun stuff. This is a very important concept. Remember, before you can tell the slope of a line or the y-intercept of a line, the equation must be in slope-intercept form. I had a good time. Did you have a good time? Very good. Now, until next time, enjoy your math homework and your math practice. See you.